Welcome to the Technobabble podcast. Enjoy.
There we go. Hey, awesome. Everybody out in the internet world. Woo. All right, welcome to the Technobabble Technobabble podcast. This is a rebirth of the podcast. We've been down and out for a few months now, but we're back going strong. This is episode number 20, and I was lucky enough to grab one of the most prolific League of Legends streamers on Twitch. Everyone say hello to a platypus. What's up, Platty?
Hello. How are you guys doing?
All right. So, Platypus, listen, there's some of you out there who may not know who Mr. Platypus is.
That would make a lot of sense.
Before I even get to asking who you are and about you, I want to preface that by saying, what do a platypus first off, like, it's not a bad name. It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
It's unique.
I appreciate it.
But where do you get a name like platypus? Where does that come from? What's the history of that?
Well, I used to be a huge Halo 2 advocate. I love that game to death. And so I remember because for Xbox Live, the old Xbox Live, I remember you'd get those free 2-week pass thingies.
Mm-hmm.
You never really had to buy an Xbox Live account. You could always just swap them. And so one of the times I made it a platypus because I kind of thought at the time when I was a young teenager, edgy as fuck, that it would be funny if anybody died, they would be killed by a platypus.
A platypus.
So that name just stuck.
You know, I think a lot of people get those names because just for shooters or games like that where you're constantly killing people. You know, some people like, you got killed by your mom and shit like that. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So, but a platypus, hey, that's a unique name. It stands out for sure.
I appreciate that. I mean, a lot of people from Australia, you know what? That's probably the reason, the Australian thing, when you're asking me. That's probably why everybody thinks I'm from Australia.
But you're not from Australia. Why don't you tell everyone where you are from and what you do?
I currently reside in LA at this moment in time, just because there actually are a lot of people who are in YouTube and streaming in LA too, and it's just kind of nice to be close to everybody else, even though I kind of don't get out of the house very much. So,
right.
But it does come in handy every once in a while.
You know, I've thought about, and it's still in the back of my mind. One of these days, I'm actually going to pack everything up and move out to the LA area because I really want to get into broadcasting. You know, not necessarily acting or anything, but broadcasting in general. And man, I feel like they got some good schools for that out there. And you know, it's a lot about who you know. And if you're going to go out there and meet some cool people, I've already got a few friends that live out there. So
sweet, man. Yeah, and also LA has an interesting energy about it. It's like it's a very I think I said this before. If you've ever watched Bleach, there's like there's something in that show where you could feel other people's like power level and stuff like that. So I feel like in LA you could feel power levels and shit, but sometimes it feels like demeaning. Sometimes you just got to deal with it and just be like, whatever. And you got.
I hear the traffic sucks out there too. Is that really true?
It does suck, man. It sucks a lot. It's definitely is one of the biggest reasons why I don't even get out of the house. Just because it's like, if you want to go to two shops, and they're definitely going to be on other sides of LA. That's going to be your whole day, dude.
Yeah, that's what I hear. So no use taking a car out there, huh?
No, the Uber is definitely like taxi. Uber is like dominant force here because even if you do drive, parking is like an absolute nightmare.
Right on. So now you stream full time now, or do you have something else you do on the side? Is all streaming?
No, actually, yeah. Streaming is my full time thing, man.
And League of Legends, I guess, is what you're most well known for, streaming some League of Legends. Where did you get? How did you get in the league? How long have you been playing?
I've been playing League for a really long time, man. More specifically, how I got into streaming League of Legends actually is an awesome story. there was a streamer who, I mean, I say was, he still streams, but he doesn't stream League of Legends. Are you familiar with the streamer Phantom Lord?
That name sounds familiar, but I don't think I've ever watched him, no.
His name's James. He dates Dingledurper at this moment in time, but
Okay.
he used to be one of the biggest entertainment League of Legends streamers in the old days, I would say. I think, like, very popular in 2012, 2013. And so I played, I've always loved MOBA style games. I played Dota, like, a lot on the old Warcraft 3 custom game thing. Like, I played that an addictive amount. It's so funny because I think I look back on it and I think I sucked because growing over time, like getting better over time and stuff like that. But anyways, so I played that and then everybody kind of moved over to League of Legends. And so I did also. And then I was watching the streamer, Phantom Lord, and awesome guy. I loved him. And he lived in LA and he had like a LAN birthday party where he streamed at. And I went to it and I shot the shit with him. I was a subscriber to him, and I just talked to him. And he was going to go drink for his birthday, but he left the stream on. And he was like, "Hey, dude, while I'm gone, do you want to stream for me?" And I was like, "Oh my god, of course, dude." And so for like 3 hours, because he was gone for a long time, dude, he just let me stream on his account in front of, I think, like at the time, 3,000 plus people, and it was absolutely just humbling. And
were you like in like shell shock? Did you know? Were you nervous? What was going on
I actually
through your
was
mind?
not nervous, which was weird because at that time I didn't think like streaming was going to be something I wanted to do, or like I just didn't stress about it. I just sat down and fucking started talking and playing video games and stuff like that. And so and I got a lot of messages from people asking me to start streaming and stuff after that, and they're like, "Hey, I'll watch you." And I still have people that from that day that still support the stream from now, which is super crazy. But yeah, that was the start, man. And so ever since then, League of Legends is one of the biggest games on Twitch being streamed. And with that, I was able to grow to what I am right now. But at this moment in time, I try to make the stream a little bit different than all the other streams. Because, I mean, if you really want to go play somebody go play League of Legends, you could go watch a pro streamer or something like that. So what I try to do with my stream is I try to like make it very fun oriented and very, like a game show in some way, shape, or form.
Such as? Go ahead, give us some examples.
Well, one of the bigger things that I did straight from the start was called Bronzodia. And
I saw your YouTube videos on that. I was
for sure. Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I actually, during the days when I didn't stream, there was this stream called Salty Bets that I found incredibly fucking humorous. And what it is it's this game called Mugen, and what it is it just grabs every single fighter from any fighting game, even if it's ridiculous or it's made by somebody else or whatever. You have all these fighters implemented in this one game mode. And so you have this AI randomly putting a fighter against a fighter. And before the match starts, you have 10 seconds to vote on who you think is going to win. And so that website is super funny because that Twitch stream is super funny, and I had a great time watching it. And then another stream popped up on League of Legends that was called Salty Timo, and at the time it was a random bot that would spectate games of low level Bronze 5 players. And if you don't know League of Legends or the scaling of divisions, Bronze 5 is kind of the lowest of the low.
It's at the bottom of the bowl. Yeah.
It's down there.
Like below. I mean, the real bottom. Let's be fair. Is like guys that haven't reached level 30 yet. So
right. But
so you're a little better, but
right. But also a lot of these guys do also have a lot of games played. Like it's an insane amount of games played. Some of these players will have like 1,000 games played in just the season. So they're playing, dude. I mean, and I never really make fun of the players because Bronzodia is very fun because League of Legends is super serious, man. It's like
believe me, yeah.
Oh my goodness, dude.
Talk about salt.
Right, dude. And the implication to be good is like, I don't know. Being bad is like something not really taken in the League of Legends kind of thing. Like if you're bad, you're going to be made fun of or whatever. But like at the same time, it's just a video game. This is kind of like a weird situation for us because we have now Twitch streams to watch all these really good players 24/7. Like any pro player and stuff like that. So people have taken the game very seriously. So I love Bronzodia because we see LCS, all the worlds and OGN and stuff like that, and we get to see all these professional plays. And then you get to see the opposite side of the spectrum where it's just these people playing fucking video games and, you know, they're doing their thing. They're not keeping up with the meta, but they don't care. So it's really actually, it's very
entertaining.
Refreshing.
It's entertaining.
It is.
Yeah.
But
it reminds me, I don't know. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so the bot, the Salty Timo one, didn't have an announcer and it was just spectating random games and there was no betting. And so I was like, hey man, I would like to do betting. I would love to shoutcast the games and I'd love to make this a thing. And that was probably one of the biggest things that kind of jump started my career. So I do have that still happening to this day, but I also mix it up with a couple of other things.
Well, yeah, you know, that actually reminds me a little bit of I don't know if you follow the StarCraft 2 scene at all, but I was really big in the StarCraft 2, and they had a very similar thing. And the names escape me right now, but basically, yeah, it was like bronze level players would send in their replays to be casted, and it was
right.
It's always fun to watch.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
And you can even learn something even as a new player by watching, like, you know, it's like
yes, dude. I mean, there's definitely been situations watching Bronzodia, and I'll be like, I didn't know. Wait, you can do that? I didn't know that. So there's definitely there's always opportunities to learn.
For sure. So you mentioned Dota and League and MOBAs were kind of your genre of choice, it seems. But do you ever just like take time off and want to play something else? And if so, like what kind of games do you gravitate towards?
Well, at this moment in time, which is really funny because I
don't say Fallout 4. You're gonna say Fallout 4.
No. I actually haven't played it yet, man. It's been very hard for me to have time because I kind of just I constantly just go on League of Legends Reddit to keep up with metas, and I watch other streamers a lot of the time. I talk to other streamers, talk to other people, blah blah blah. And the more time I focus on my stream, the League of Legends, and setting up for the stream and the background work, the actuality is I don't really get to play video games too much on the side. Hopefully though that it becomes different when I start to get a little bit more organized. Sure. But yeah, man, it's definitely been super rough because like there's so many games I would love to dive into, like Witcher 3. I would love to play Witcher 3.
I haven't played it, but I've watched a lot of gameplay.
Right. And I'm thinking about trying to just play new games when they come out and get that going on and see where that takes me. But I would love to dive into like the newer games and stuff like that because that was a huge passion in my life for a very long time. And I'm not sad that I don't do it right now because I know that I'm focusing on my job and all that jazz. And video games are obviously I'm working on video games, but I don't get to have so much free time that I could just dive into like fucking Witcher 3 and get lost or anything like that. You know what I mean?
For sure. So like. You played League a shit ton, like an awful shit ton. In fact, that's all you do, basically. So what's your for those that don't know, what league, what rank are you in season 6 here, or pre-season
right now?
6, whatever it is.
I'm just plat 1 at this moment in time. I was Diamond 4 last season. This season I keep up, but with the current meta, but I don't. In order to like hit that Diamond 1. You have to play like a lot, and you have to, because at that moment you're mechanically just teaching your body to remember muscle memory and reaction times, like 0.0 seconds, flash, like quick, super quick. And I like to play enough to like know what I'm talking about and possibly know, you know, how to go about a situation whenever like somebody else is going to be hitting that problem. But I don't think if the amount of dedication it takes to get to Diamond 1 is in itself a job. So for me, I kind of chose the route of making it more about my viewers and shoutcasting and making games for them so I can participate, watch, and shoutcast and like have like my intelligence that I get before being Platinum 1, I guess. You know what I mean?
So above being a league player, you consider yourself more of an entertainer.
Right.
I would say.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I would say I'm not. And that goes back to the idea that there's so many League of Legends streamers that are professional and they're way better than me.
Right.
And
you got to do something different to stand out a little bit.
Right. Yeah. I've had to make that decision where I'm just going to be like, well, you know what? I'm just going to own the fact that I'm not as good as them, dude. So I got to just play to my talents, dude. So, yeah, I kind of just was like, I'm not going to be as good as them.
Sure. So did you ever think about playing professionally at all, or did the thought ever cross your mind? Like, you know what? I think I can go with the big dogs if I put enough time into it.
Honestly, I mean, to this day, I still think about whether or not if I just sat down and just put my nose to the grindstone and just kind of like played. The problem with that though is I lose, like, and especially if I did that on the stream, I would lose a lot of interaction with my chat because it's really hard. Because what happens when you get into Diamond 1 or in the high diamonds for that matter is it is very unforgiving as far as your if I looked at, I've had so many times where I'm playing the game and I look at my chat for a second and then I talk real quick and then I
get
die.
ganked.
I get ganked, die, or something bad happens. And obviously I can't be frustrated with that because that's my fault that I looked. So it's like, it is what it is. But those type of things can snowball out of control. And those small things, your opponents can take advantage of that. So it just depends what you want to be. You want to be that entertainer, or do you want to like have that focus on your becoming like a very good gamer? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
So hey, what do you think? What is, for you at least, what's the hardest thing right now about the game of League of Legends? Like what's the one thing, like if you had to just like stop streaming and focus, what do you think the one thing you would work on the most is? What's the toughest thing about the game?
The toughest thing about the game is the morale. A lot of people are very easily mentally defeated. And that kind of is a bummer, just because the game, like one of the biggest things is you shouldn't focus on other people, like during a gameplay, because it's, you know, some people, anything could happen with them. So you have to focus on improving yourself constantly and just minimizing your mistakes. And so, but yeah, sometimes when you get into a ranked game, somebody could just be frustrated and be like get ganked a lot or something like that, and then you know they get tilted. And so what tilted is in that aspect is like somebody kind of just starts not focusing. You just kind of stop focusing and you kind of like get so flustered you start to think about different things as opposed to what you generally would have thought about, like playing safe. But somebody who's tilted is going to be like, no, I've been suffering this whole entire game. I don't want to play safe right now. I want kills. I need CS. I'm so weak right now. But that further like makes them an easier target to pick, and then they get killed even more. So I wish sometimes that I'll watch videos of CSGO, and a lot of people will be in the voice communication and stuff like that, and they'll be laughing and having a good time and stuff. And I would love that to happen in League of Legends, like some sort of voice communication or something like that, where people are just like, fuck it, dude. Yeah, we lost. No big deal. Blah, blah, blah. But that also comes with a huge time difference between like CSGO matches and a possibility of like a 40 to 50 minute match in League of Legends. Right. So it's really a hard fix. But I think that is the biggest problem with League of Legends at this moment in time.
Well, I've asked the same question to other friends of mine. And some of them have come back with, to them the hardest part is the get over. And the reason you kind of go on tilt is maybe you're playing with someone who's like just a bad player, quote unquote, you know what I mean?
Right.
And having to carry you know, multiple lanes or carry the game on your shoulders because of them. But personally, you know, I'm pretty much brand new. I've been playing League off and on for a few years, but I mean, I'm still brand new to the game, if you know.
It's all good.
But I still have trouble. I mean, I believe you can lose a game because one or two of your players are you know just sucking pretty bad. But I still feel like there's something like I don't feel like that should be the core reason or what you should focus on when you're playing League. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, sometimes when it gets to that point though, you kind of have to like, I'm trying to figure out how to. Okay, so if you have a bad player on your team, there's many different reasons why they could be bad. Maybe they didn't get the champion they wanted. Maybe they didn't get the role they wanted. So they're already at a handicap playing a different role. So the best way to reduce mistakes is going into a team fight and trying to carry through a team fight or whatever is best for your character. Like if you are Tryndamere and you're split pushing and, you need to start taking control of the game yourself because you can carry with your mechanics, but you can also carry with your words, but you have to be careful, not to fucking piss anybody off or anything like that. But you got to be like, hey guys, I'm going to split push top. Please, 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 take aggro around dragon or mid lane, push it up and do your best to do what your champion is supposed to do in order for you to carry. Like if you're ADC, you're like, hey guys, we need a team fight going on. I know that, you're having a rough game, but do your best to peel for me. And, you know what I mean? So just try to play what your champion's strengths are. And it does maximize your chance of winning that game, even if you have not so good players on your team.
And you yourself, I guess, at the end of the game, if you can come out and say, you know what, I did my best, and I'm happy with my score. Then that's a victory in itself, And you could always go back and say, what could I have done to improve in that last game? Maybe I didn't farm enough in the beginning in the laning phase or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, man.
Those kind of questions. I guess those are really questions for a lot of newer players. Which brings me to my next point. Like, do you ever get asked to coach, or have you ever coached, or have you ever thought of coaching players in League?
I've over time I've actually. A lot of people have asked me to spectate their games and tell them to ask that what they did wrong and stuff like that. And I haven't done it yet just because, and it has nothing to do with like whether or not I feel like I can do it. I have the I have the background information to do it or anything like that. I don't think. I don't know, man. Somebody wanted to pay me, and I was like, I don't know. I felt kind of off. I was like, I don't know. I don't think I think you would get more bang for your buck if you asked somebody else, who was a fucking Diamond 1 or a Challenger or Master. But you know what I mean? So I don't know if I actually don't know the answer to that question personally. I don't know, my man.
well, here's the way I see it is, even if Plat 1's nothing to be ashamed about, really. You know what I mean? And the very least you could do is give, basic pointers to maybe a brand new player.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's true.
But anyway, so by the way, we've talked a lot about League and advices and things you like about the game, but we haven't actually gotten around. I know there are people out there listening to this right now who are wondering, what role does this guy play? What's your favorite champion? What role are you more comfortable with? Or are you one of those guys like, I'll just feel I'm good at everything?
Well, when I definitely first started playing League, it's so funny because there's people that literally love to play only one champion, and then there's people who like to just play multiple champions, and I kind of fall under that category where I just kind of I'll go into a game and I'll be like, I feel like playing this champion. So there's definitely champions that I'm better on, but I'm actually I'm not also pigeonholed to be specifically. I think top is definitely my worst lane because that is the weakest one. Yeah, just because I don't know the matchups, and that's very important. That's very important to know whether or not you have the advantage of your opponent during a trade, you know what I mean? So I don't know trade opportunities in the top lane as opposed to the bot lane. I know trade opportunities very well because you kind of just you kind of just get that vibe. You kind of like feel it out, like especially when you have the level advantage of your opponents, or perhaps you have better ultimates than your opponents when you get that level 6 advantage. Or if like both of you guys hit level 6 at the same time, you kind of go, all right, who has better ults in this kind of situation? So that is a huge difference. But yeah, I love bot lane. I love support just because I love it sounds so fucking cheesy, but I like teamwork, dude. I love like working with somebody else.
Right.
And I think it's very fun. Also, more people.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say more people to go up against. You know what I mean? And you got 2 opponents in the other lane as opposed
Makes
to.
it a little more competitive, you think?
Right. I think support's very fun, but well, I'm sorry. What was your next question?
No, I was gonna ask you. So like, but okay. So you say if you had to pick a role, like a gun up against your head, like pick a role. Now you'd say support, right?
Yes, support. I'd say support.
And which support do you enjoy playing? Like again, I'm pretty new, but the 2 supports I gravitate towards more these days are Blitzcrank and Sona.
Okay.
What about you?
Sure.
What about you?
I love Thresh, Braum, and Bard.
Okay. Is there any particular reason other than they're overpowered?
Yeah. No. I mean, Braum is just one of the strongest defensive supports out there, man. He's just so strong. Great initiator, great disengager, just great everything. He's a solid support. Thresh is another solid support. It's just a lot of those 2 supports are probably some of the best kits utility wise for that position for support. Also, Bard's phenomenal too, but he's a little bit more of a riskier play style. But he also is if you know how to like play him pretty well, he's very, very great at changing situations.
Out of those 3 you just named, which would you recommend? Like if a newer player such as myself said, you know what, I'm gonna really focus on support. I'm gonna find a good support champion I'm comfortable with. Which do you think of those 3 it would be the easiest to learn for a new player?
I think Braum would be the easiest because a lot of people like Thresh is definitely one of the top supports, but whenever anybody lists his pros and cons, his cons always, no matter what, is like high skill cap. Like, because if you aren't hitting the mechanics, man, then you are very not helpful with that champion. Because he's not really super tanky, but he can hold his strength, especially if he collects enough souls that give him armor, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, man, if you're not hitting the death sentences, then you're just, you're shit out of luck, dude. So he's a little bit harder on that. And Bard is definitely a high skill cap. Like, cause his ultimate is very goofy. You can't, if you could fuck your own team very easily. What is that called? I forget what it's called, his ultimate. Oh, goodness. Not Magical Journey.
Yeah, I don't know myself, man.
I forget, my man. But,
so that's okay. The chat will let us know eventually.
Oh, for sure. I can't, I actually am not reading the chat cause I get distracted so easily.
No, yeah, don't worry. Hey, chat, by the way, if you're listening to this, in the future, we're actually streaming this episode live on Twitch TV, twitch.tv/Captain Kirk 767. So every now and then we do that, but otherwise, if you're in the past, then that has no bearing on you whatsoever. But hey, hit the follow button and maybe you'll catch a future episode.
There you go.
But anyway, so lost my train of thought now.
No, it's okay. Support champions.
Right, support champions. Actually, I was going to move on to.
Go for it.
League of Legends have changed a lot over the years, and you've been there pretty much since the beginning. You've already stated. It's gone through ups and downs. How do you think? Do you think League is kind of at the top right now? Do you think it's going at a peak? Where do you think League is? How have you seen it progress, and where's it going? Do you think?
I think. And I'm lucky enough to live by Riot, so I talk to some of the Riot employees a lot. And I recently was talking to one of my good friends, and we were talking about the plateau of League. And we were like, so I was like, where do you think you're at right now as far as the company goes? And he's like, we are almost at plateau. But we don't. At the same time, I don't know how long that plateau will survive for. And I'm not saying that in a negative connotation. I'm just saying that, like, the only other game at this moment of time that has finally had its downfall is World of Warcraft. And that was a game that, had a pretty strong hold for a really long time. and it's just I understand the thought about wanting to know where League of Legends is. I just, at this moment in time, I think it still has a good date, I guess. No, not it's got a good run. It's got a good time on it.
It's got places to go.
I think it does, just because Riot, it does a good job at mixing shit up. They mix things up. They create controversy in some way, shape, or form. They're doing a good job shaking up the game, whether it's good or bad. You're always kind of creating some sort of controversy within the community, and they just have a really strong following. Not only that, dude, but like China, I think China makes up for like 70% of the population that plays League of Legends. So
I think Asians in general, and this isn't a negative comment, but I think they make up for a lot of pro gaming, scene, and across all the games.
PC cafes over there. Jeez.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, have you ever been over there?
I actually
personally?
have not. I've not.
Oh, that's on my bucket list, is to get over there and see the gaming scene over there.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome. That's awesome.
But anyway, so okay, one more question I want to get to you, and then we're going to open it up for questions from. We got some questions that came in off of Twitter, and we'll open it up to the chat here. So if you, for whatever reason, choose not to stick with League, let's say you get burned out with it, whatever happens. If you weren't streaming League right now, what do you think you would be doing? Or is there another game you think you'd be doing? Would you be doing something else kind of in the real world? What do you think if it all stopped right now, where do you think you'd go?
Well, before I started streaming, I was going to move to LA regardless I love acting. I love theater. I did theater in college, and I just love entertaining people. And so while I was in college, I served, and I love serving because obviously, as a server, you're also entertaining people. That's where I picked up my beer hobby. And what was I going to say? And so I saved up money while I was serving to move to LA to try to be an actor. And instead, what fell in my lap was the Phantom Lord LAN party thing, where the opportunity of trying to become a streamer was a thing. So instead of moving, I just took that $5,000 and I just sat on it and streamed and used the money, invested, and did what I could to try to be a streamer. So, but yeah.
What do you think your key to success to growing your stream was? What do you think, obviously everyone says hard work, but like, for an up-and-coming streamer or someone in that and looking to do that kind of thing, the kind of thing you do, what's the absolute best advice you could give that person?
I would say it's super important to be personable as possible and just to be happy to be in the position that you are. And even if you're even if you don't have that many viewers, dude, or whatever, just be happy, just because it rubs off on people. And it took me a long time to be able to profit and live off of streaming. And you just can't take advantage of anything just because the job comes with, like, you're going to be asked repeat questions all the time. You're going to, obviously, it is live, so you're going to be having people come in every different minute or whatever, asking possibly the same thing, or, you're going to be dealing with everybody or anything. It's the internet, man, and it's an open forum.
I think it's the future of broadcasting, really.
Right. No, I
really do.
I agree. And but yeah, man, it's just always try to show as much positiveness as possible, just because really that is what brings people together, is just being happy. And being happy.
Because people want to be around other people who are happy. 9 times out of 10, people come to watch Twitch because, they want to get away from the real world, right?
Right. Man.
So if you can take them into another place, even if it's just laughing and cutting up and talking and interacting with them, that could save someone's life. You never know.
Right, dude. Honestly, man. And there's definitely, I've talked to some people, man, that have been in very bad places. One of my good friends I know, I'm not going to say their name just because,
sure,
it's like that would be a bad idea. But yeah, I talked to him about it, and at first when I heard, like, to me, I'm just like, what, dude? I'm just like some guy. You know what I mean? I'm just some guy doing this thing. And at the same time, I've had to step backwards and just be like, you know what, dude? What you do for people, they enjoy it. So don't just run with it and make make as many people as happy as you can. And
you know what? I agree. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome advice. It's the advice I try to live by, but it's always good to hear it from someone else.
Thanks, man.
As often as possible. All right, so we got a few questions. I'm going to open it up to chat.
Awesome.
Chat, you guys go ahead, start throwing your questions out. But while you guys are doing that, I'm going to pull from Twitter here.
Okie dokie.
At JDude700 asks, what is the story behind your neighbor Chris?
God damn it.
So got to be some inside joke there. We got to get let in on.
Actually, it is a story, man. So when I first moved to LA, I moved in with my girlfriend, who recently we just got engaged over the New Year's.
Oh, congratulations!
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And so I moved into LA and into an apartment complex. One of the problems is I'm very loud, and we made sure that if I moved in, I would move into this area where I didn't share any walls with anybody, and it happened to work out. And so I moved in that spot. And while I'm streaming one night, somebody comes to my door, knock, knock, and it's a guy named Chris. And he's my neighbor, and he can hear me. And I was like, oh, no. At the time, I felt awful. I was like, oh, shit, man. He can't, like, that sucks so bad. And so I bought $1,000 worth of soundproof foam to, cover
That'll
my
do it.
And so, and it was a giant mess. And then I started streaming again. And then knock, knock, knock. Here comes Chris. I'm like, oh my God, really? You can still hear me? That's crazy, dude. And also, some of the times I was just talking to Taryn off stream on nights I didn't stream, and he would text me and he'd be like, hey man, I can hear you. And I'd be like, I'm not even streaming, dude. And so he'd be like, oh. So luckily, I had somebody that works with Riot watch my stream at the time. He still does. He's awesome. And he is one of their sound engineers. And he was like, hey man, I'll go over to his house and I'll record your sound levels and we'll see what we can figure out. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds awesome. Thank you so much. And so, he comes over and he goes to this guy's apartment. First of all, I will say this, the dude's apartment looked like American Psycho. Great setup. Like he had like those Italian white marble sculptures inside and shit like that. And I was like, oh my God, this is so fucking creepy. I actually felt, I kind of was like, oh, my friend's name is Kyle. And I was like, you're gonna, please don't die while I go downstairs. And so, oh yeah, I barely shared a corner with this guy, by the way, just a corner.
Just a little corner.
Just a little corner. So I go back downstairs to record my sound levels. I'm yelling, dude. And Kyle's sitting in the room and he's recording this on his little device. And it's actually a really crazy device. He showed me and it's got doodads and trinkets and stuff. And so, he comes back, he straight faced looks at me and he goes, all right, well, we got the recording. Do you want to hear? And I was like, yeah, dude, sure. And then he plays it, and this is what it sounds like.
Oh my God.
So, and then the windows open, and you hear a car go by, and it was raining, and then you could hear the car just kind of softly go over against the rain-filled road, and that kind of blurred out the sound of even my mummering. And my mummering was me yelling. So at this moment, it clicks, and I go in my head, and I was like, this man sleeps in absolute silence, and he can hear the mummering. He's done nothing to try to prevent this sound on his end whatsoever, like turn a fan on or wear earplugs or anything like that. So he comes over, and me and Kyle just got done listening to this shit, and we're both like, what do we say? So Kyle takes the reins and he was like, hey man, so we just heard it, and you had a window open, so I can also I could hear, because the Chris was in the kitchen like cooking something, so anything that Chris was doing in the kitchen also muffled the sound that I was making. And he was just like, you're gonna have to buy like a fan or something, like, and that will like muffle out any sound that you can hear. And the guy, and Chris, straight up fucking looks us both in the eye and he says, I'm not buying a fan in the middle of January. And I just knew instantly. I felt super bad for this guy from day one until that moment of time. At that moment, he became my enemy. Because like, you have to be kidding me, man. I've spent thousands of dollars, ended my stream super early for you. And that was a horrible point in my career because I felt so stressed out. And I just couldn't be loud. I felt like I was at points I would be loud, like I would yell in excitement, but then like freak the fuck out and start sweating because I was like, oh my God. Because this guy was also calling the cops on my house multiple times, where I would see the same fucking cops. So it was just getting so super stressful. And one night I was streaming, a lady comes to my door. And I'm like, hey, what's up? I've never seen this lady before. And she's like, hey, what are you doing in here? Like, what's up? I can hear you. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm streaming. I apologize. I've been doing this for a while. What room are you in? And then she evades the question. And she's just like, hey, I just got surgery in my mouth done. I was going to ask if you can end your stream early tonight. I'm very tired. And I was like, yeah, sure. No problem. Where exactly are you hearing this from? And she says, oh, it's apartment 101. And I was like, what, your roommates with Chris or something? And she was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, I've never seen you before. And then she leaves, and then I continued streaming. So
that's the story of Chris.
Yeah, I had to move. We are in a house now, and life is phenomenal. There's a little side half that I don't explain because it's not that exciting, but I moved into a different room in that apartment, and then the neighbors above us instantly called the cops. They didn't even talk to us. I didn't even see their faces, and at that moment in time, I was just like, we got to get out of here, dude.
Oh, the stresses of streaming. Hey, I know we're running out of time with you here, so we'll speed run these last few questions here.
No problem.
At GGN_Jedi Amanda from Twitter asks, how many hours of work do you put into streaming outside of actually streaming?
Awesome. Right now, I'm like the busiest I've been my whole career, which is great. It's awesome, but it also it's very hard to balance between like hanging out with Taryn and doing this as well. I would say with streaming, I would say it's about 8 to 9 hours a day.
Wow.
With streaming.
Yeah.
Just because I have a moderator that I talk to, moderators I talk to all the time on the side just to make sure, hey, what's going on there and stuff like that. And I do so many small things like the beer of the day.
What is the beer of the day, actually?
The beer of the day, I believe today is going to be a black IPA from El Segundo. I think that's where we're going to be pulling.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So, hey, let's see. A couple more questions here. Okay. Then we'll ask a couple viewer questions. And I know you're going to be streaming tonight, so we'll let you get to that soon.
Oh, it's fine, dude. Take your time, man. Don't feel rushed.
Okay. Well, cool. Hey, I appreciate that, man.
No problem, man.
Okay. Okay, so this is from @thedude_TV, and this actually we kind of brushed this a little bit earlier, but do you have any kind of depression or stress that comes along with streaming? I know since you probably moved away from Chris, that level's probably gone down a little bit, but in general day-to-day life, 8 to 9 hours of streaming, is there any stress or depression that comes with that? And if so, how do you cope with that?
That's a awesome question. And he's one of my moderators, and he's an awesome guy. Yeah, obviously during the Chris scenario, I was probably at the lowest point of my career, and there was other and it led me to make some mistakes as well. And what was I going to say? But also, and it's really hard because I love entertaining people and I love making people happy, but at the same time, I hate disappointing people. And I hate making people sad. And so sometimes that and I can't let that dictate my actions. And so sometimes it has in the past where, like I've been very bad about reading messages from people and stuff like that, just because I'm very stressed out about disappointing people in messages or whatever, or anything like that. Or like somebody doesn't get in the game, and a lot of people, like, I'll host a game and, X amount of people won't get in the game, obviously, and they're very sad. And I'm like, fuck, dude, like, I'm so sorry. I can only get like X amount of people in the game and stuff like that. And there's just so many. I wish I could do more sometimes, like, and it doesn't get to me as much. I'm definitely more focused on doing what I can and pleasing the people that I can please, and not stress so much about the people that perhaps that I do disappoint. Sadly, it's just going to happen.
Right.
At the same time, I had to realize that not everybody's going to like me also. You know what I mean? That's where the haters come from. Like, sure. Obviously, you're just going to get them.
Yeah, haters are going to be there no matter what.
Right. So at this moment in time, I definitely have a better grasp on not letting the anxiety and the stress get to me. But it is there. And and you're on the internet, dude. And it's you have to fucking just be super positive, because anything can happen. Like last night, my bot that it was very important to my stream went down, and it didn't work out, and it was kind of a bummer. And then but got to move on. No big deal. Keep going. And then we had custom games, but we had a little bit of a problem with non-subscribers kind of not listening to the rules and cheating. And that was kind of a bummer, because that was like the third week in a row on a Sunday where that didn't happen. So that was a little bit of a problem, but you got to keep going, keep positive, hold it in a positive.
Always maintain a positive attitude.
But then also I had a situation where one of the players that was in that game was slightly toxic. And then that person won a raffle on my stream that day, but they weren't there to accept their prize, so we moved on. And then he came back in like a couple seconds later, and he was like, hey, my chat was glitched. I'm so sorry. I saw that I won. I was trying to say I was winning. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, fuck, like, what do I do right now? And I got people that in my chat, they're like, fuck that guy. He was a dick. And then I also have people donating to me to be like, no, take this money and give it to him for the prize. And I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, like, this is so chaotic right now. So there's definitely a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but the most important part is just to fucking keep as most positive as possible.
Just to keep going.
Keep going, man. Yeah.
Okay, so I got to ask you a question, a little bit off the wall, a little off
That's
subject.
fine.
Do you do any role playing, any Dungeons and Dragons, anything like that at all?
I have not. I would love to, though, because obviously I love getting the character, dude. I love that.
Yeah, because you mentioned you're kind of an aspiring actor and everything.
Right.
And you've got the voice, you've got a persona about you. I think you'd be really good at it. Hey, I'm just going to throw this out there. I mean, you've heard of Bubbernot, right? Bubbernot _ CCE.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. I know you know him too. But he's going to be doing some. He does a lot of streaming as far as D&D goes, and
awesome.
Maybe you and him could hook up, and we could actually see Max the Platypuss on some D&D. What do you think? To that?
As soon as he threw that idea at me, I was like, oh, dude, this actually sounds really fun, man. I've always wanted to do Dungeons and Dragons, but I kind of was I never really had enough time, because I knew that some of these things take like days to complete and stuff like that.
Right.
And so I actually went to my friend's house and just sat down and watched them play. I was like, oh my God, this is so fucking cool, dude. Holy shit, man. It's just, I think also, and I love that. And I love that idea on Twitch streams doing it, because it's so personable. I think that's.
Oh yeah, I think it's a revolution. It's a revolution.
Right, dude. I'm so excited to see where that goes. But yeah, I'm gonna be in contact with him soon.
Okay, awesome. All right, I got a couple people have asked this question, so I want to throw this at you before we say goodnight.
Okay.
And I'm trying to see who it was. I apologize if I missed it. I think Keyblade Master and it looks like J Dude both asked this question. And if anyone else asked, I'm sorry that I left you out. But where's the future of your stream, man? What's in it for 2016? We're sitting here on a brand new year. You got any big plans for the future of the stream, or how's that going to play out?
I mean, that's a great question. Just because I'm very thirsty to have like just a polished stream, because at this moment in time, I'm very far from being like what I could be as far as a professional stream goes. But I mean, just really, really getting down to the nitty gritty, getting on details, making sure everything's perfect. No mishaps. Very clean. I want the stream. I'm trying to figure out an example. But it's hard for me to figure out an example because I want something that no League of Legends streamer has. And I want this awesome community, of just people that play League of Legends, but also kind of just are just cool people. And I feel like a lot of the League of Legends communities are chaotic, and which is fine, and that's not a negative connotation at all, but it's I would say that's comparative to like Soda Poppin' stream. His chat is chaotic. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's very fun and stuff like that. But I want to have like a stream like Brown Man. I don't know if you know him. He used to work with Rooster Teeth. He has an awesome community. And it really inspired me to like have something where everybody's just wants to play video games with each other, man. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's it. And everybody's just there to have a good time. So I really want to be able to polish my stream to provide that. And
that comes with having a lot of good support and
right.
with your moderators and your crew behind the stage. And all that good stuff. I think those and just organization and having a schedule in general help with that kind of thing.
Right.
All right, Max. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I haven't really been able to talk about something else, but I am in possible work with I'm in possible work with a YouTuber right now, and if that works out, that would be a huge thing for my stream.
Oh.
So that would be really, really cool. I don't think
a little bit of foreshadowing here.
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to talk about it yet because it's not set in stone. It might be if everything works out, it actually might be, and it would be a phenomenal thing. So that would be something to look forward to.
I hope that works out for you,
Thanks,
man. I'll be looking
Appreciate
out for
it.
Hey, thank you. Everybody at Max The Platypuss on Twitter, give him a follow. We're going to be hosting his Twitch stream. He's going to be streaming here very shortly once we sign off here. So go check him out, learn how to play some League of Legends, right? And hey, man, just thanks so much. It's awesome having you. You're a great guy. Love talking to you. Maybe we can get together in the future. And do some more,
dude, just hit me up.
Stuff,
no
man.
problem. Ask me anytime, man.
Hey, sorry if I didn't get to your questions out there, but everybody who showed up for the live stream, thank you guys so much. Couldn't have done it without you guys' support to be in here and help me out. So thanks, everyone. And this is Kirk signing off saying, listen, don't let anybody fuck with you. You do the shit that makes you happy, all right? Peace out, you guys.
There you go. Peace out, guys.
This concludes the Technobabble podcast. If you would like to leave feedback, please send us an email to thetechnobabblepodcast@gmail.com. Or feel free to reach out to us via Twitter @thetechnobabble. Thanks for listening. See you next time.